No one understood what to think of Diddy's 2020 Instagram Live announcement of a young white girl as his adoptive daughter. The girl may be 11 or 12 years old. He asked her to repeat her new name and said, "I want to be a caring man," with an uneasy smile. He then chose to come get me after noticing me and instructed him to play with his children indoors. At first look, it seemed like one of those touching yet unexpected moments that celebrities sometimes share. Into the chronology, a strong black tycoon adopting a child amid the pandemic's disarray. It had a serious savior vibe, vitality people would share it with claps and loving emoticons. But there was a noticeable difference. They simply had no idea what fast as we move forward in time. The significance of that event has entirely changed. Following her Instagram debut, Ava almost disappeared. She wasn't included in any of the typical locations. No family, no birthday, posts. There are no informal behind-the-scenes videos from the Courtroom's home on TikTok. The way she was positioned was what made it weird. When she did show up, fans saw that she was always with Diddy's kids and never his daughters. Her stiff body language suggested that she not sure how to behave or where to look. There was no sense of family. It seemed like PR. And then suddenly, Terrence made a bombshell court declaration that revealed a new side to the story. Ava wasn't even supposed to be on his mind. The subject of the hearing was Diddy's alleged predatory actions in Hollywood. However, Terrence stopped in the middle of his statement and alluded cryptically to something regarding a circumstance involving an unexpected person. And suddenly, the internet made the connections. Why? Because shortly after that court appearance, Diddy's charge was broadened. More possible victims were added, and rumors circulated that Ava might be among them. The girl who disappeared following a brief, awkward live webcast might be the focal point of one of the most sinister tales in contemporary celebrity culture. This is the point at which it spiraled. Terrence did speak incoherently. He described in detail how Diddy once invited him over and said he wanted acting lessons. Just two performers made it appear harmless at first, linking. However, Terrence claimed that things quickly became strange and that Diddy was just gazing without any scripts or preparations for rehearsals when he invited Terrence to join him, play some music again, and hang out. After a while, his aide cautioned him, "Diddy isn't looking for acting lessons." And after that, contact ceased. Terrence quickly retreated. On its own, that moment was scary, but when he added later that in this industry once, you can never regain your manhood once you compromise it. That's where I had to pick it up. Proceed. Fans peruse the lines. He wasn't merely discussing himself. What if Ava was a part of this same twisted pattern? Many began to wonder. What happens if Diddy's alleged adoption was more about access than compassion, right? That theory gained traction after Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, revealed his own truth bomb. Gan was present throughout it all. Ava's debut, in his opinion, wasn't a family moment since he witnessed what most people didn't. It was a ploy to harm Diddy's reputation while everyone else was cooped up inside, searching social media for positive stories. Diddy, Gene said, gathered Ava during the pandemic, displayed her on social media as a trophy, and then removed her from the image as the publicity subsided. No quiet, no follow-up, no school photos. And he claimed that the industry was aware that there were doubts among those working behind the scenes. Some people thought that there was proof connected to whatever transpired next. Additionally, it has been stated that federal authorities are already searching through Diddy's confiscated gadgets for responses. At that point, the plot really begins to change, since Ava is no longer merely a name mentioned in passing. Instead, she is the question that no one can answer. Give up asking. Ava Baron Condi is where? And after that Instagram Live, what actually transpired? Did he not mention Ava ever again? No pictures for Father's Day updates that aren't even mentioned in passing throughout interviews. And for someone who records practically everything, including birthdays, parties, yachts, and extravagant occasions, the some-no scream could match the volume of the blackout. Digging began. The internet became investigators, obtaining screenshots that matched replaying timelines. That uncomfortable live webcast seemed to be the secret to something more profound. And perhaps it did because, following that first encounter, Ava wasn't a name you just happened to stumble onto. Disclose no school registration listings, adoption documents, classmates' tagged images, or birthday greetings from pals were present. She seemed to be presented to the world before being digitally removed. The sort of disappearance that seems planned and deliberate, as though someone wanted her to vanish without inquiry. Then the lawsuits started. One by one, not only against Diddy, but also against those who are close to him. Christian Camis and Justin, his kids, began to show up. In court documents, in a case involving suspected human trafficking, Justin was mentioned. Christian is currently being sued for sexual assault. These claims weren't outdated. Coming back from the past, they were recent, continuous, and contained unsettling information that uncannily mirrored Diddy's own charges. Additionally, this is where individuals began to feel very uneasy because Ava was always observed hanging around those two in the few times she was visible. He never did. His sons and daughters are now consistently connected to really troubling behavior. It made me think something horrifying. Did Ava get adopted as safeguarded or subject to control former bodyguard Gandil, who has been spilling information as if they had been kept for years? Claims it wasn't simply regarding optics. He maintains that Diddy picked up similar habits from other business people who abused their position of authority. Then he followed suit. He began treating people the way he had been treated. "That's how it works in that world," Gene stated in one tape. "You either get used or you start using." And if that's the case, Ava wasn't just any youngster. He felt sorry. For during the course of she could have been a part of a setup, a tool, or a pattern. The individual analogy, Madonna, is something Diddy built that will never go away. "I adopted you like Madonna did," he remarked in his live stream with Ava, making an effort to normalize it. However, that reference is really old. For years, Madonna's adoptions have drawn criticism. Trafficking in children allegations using legal institutions to take children away from their homes in dubious ways. Diddy's nonchalant statement that he was doing the same thing didn't appear to be a celebrity flex. It resembled a confession. His case isn't strengthened by the chronology. Ava unexpectedly appears. The pandemic affects Diddy's audience. After years of negative headlines, the image needs to be softened. Ava is presented. She vanishes. In the meantime, Diddy's legal issues begin to resurface and fresh names begin to appear. According to insiders, some of these victims were children, some were captured on camera, and some may have been trafficked. That is no longer conjecture. Federal detectives are currently pursuing it, and in the midst of it all is this one name: Combs, Ava Barron. A child who might have entered a famous person's house believing they were being saved, only to find themselves in a more frightening and dismal place. Next up is Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former partner, whose lawsuit dispelled any remaining delusions. She wasn't evasive. She didn't say that. She revealed that she was being monitored while captive, coerced into freak-offs and silenced. She claimed to have been filmed, to be afraid, and to have been used. Investigators are now questioning whether Ava was involved in the same device, the same setting, and an alternative retelling of the same horror. The industry is waiting for Ava to speak because if she demonstrates that this case won't be ignored again, it will be the one to completely blow everything up. 50 Cent anticipated something. For many years he had been disparaging Diddy online and making jokes that didn't seem funny. They dismissed it as a simple case of two egos colliding in the spotlight. But the teasing has now taken a darker turn with all the legal turmoil. Did he do it? He's releasing a documentary. It's more than simply a title, too. It serves as a warning. They can't charge him for what we saw, but we can't unsee it, 50 states in a video that has already gone viral. Everyone knows that 50 doesn't bluff, so that line went viral on the internet. If he's hinting about footage, or even just suggesting that there's something visual, Diddy has been hiding this reality for a long time, because there is something tangible that connects him to the things that others have only spoken in whispers. He's not alone either. No longer, according to those. With knowledge of the federal inquiry, Ava Baron Kamami is no longer missing. She is not a fugitive. She is not quiet, according to reports. Collaborating. If that is the case, it would completely change everything if this lady, who previously strutted around on live feeds like a pet project, were suddenly prepared to speak. No longer be conjecture. From the one individual who experienced it, this would be confirmation. As a result, prosecutors now possess something they have never had. If Ava tells them what actually transpired after the cameras turned, there will be a first-hand witness from inside the house who saw what the public was not supposed to see. What she did, who she was with, and what was recorded might tie up all the loose ends that have been dangling for years. The Terrence Howard alludes to the hidden allegations and lawsuits. Additionally, it would clarify Diddy's downward slide. Silent. Payouts, disappearing posts, abrupt PR actions that seem less like a plan and more like panic. The man who once controlled every aspect of fashion, music, and media is now witnessing the internal disintegration of his empire. And the noise isn't going away for once. The internet is blocked. As if it were an HBO, they are taking screenshots of everything, recording videos, and monitoring legal developments. Series, but it isn't a show. This is actual life. Ava can speak for all victims who have never been heard if she takes the stage. One, in addition to Diddy's sphere of influence, the sector. Because of the nature of this case, discovering that it's not just one man's perverted reality. It's a system that has shielded influential men for many years, using fame as an excuse, wealth and power. Additionally, it's already shaking. It's evident in the quiet from other well-known people who previously stood next to Diddy. Additionally, to those who posed toasted champagne, hailed him in pictures. Everyone in the family is suddenly quiet. No assistants, only distance, because they see no tweets. The walls closing in as well. They are aware of it. Indicates that when someone such as Gene Deal begins speaking, or when 50 Cent pauses joking, or when the Federal Reserve begins to seize hard drives. When people asked where Ava was, they are now inquiring about her knowledge. That change is significant. It indicates that she's no longer merely a mystery. She is an important observe. Perhaps the last component of a puzzle that has been left unattended far longer than necessary. Because if AA's story is even somewhat accurate, validates Diddy's darkest aspects universe. So this isn't merely a descent from grace. It's his legacy imploding, his strength, his defense, and with as each day goes by, it appears more such of those he attempted to quiet include. At last, I'm prepared to talk. Additionally, this time,